Dean Fuleihan, thank you so much for coming on the Majority Report today.
So, Gino, thank you for having me. I'm really, it's a privilege being here with you, and I know we have a lot to talk about. We can start with, you pronounced my name and the way it is pronounced in Lebanon. And we're here, it's Fuleihan. It's an interesting distinction between being there and how it's pronounced, but thank you for that.
Fuleihan for anyone who's listening.
Correct.
And I'm lucky, my name is easily recognized, my family name, so Raidy can just be Raidy.
Is trying to figure out,
There's the Ain at the end there, but Raidy is very
Raidy is.
So I don't have, it's much easier for me, thankfully. I told Sam and Emma that I wanted to do the interview with you because obviously we share something in common, which is that we're both Lebanese immigrants. So what would you tell the Arab and Lebanese community here, especially young Arabs and Lebanese who want to serve, but haven't seen a lot of people in leadership positions like that?
So it's a wonderful question. And the Zohran Mamdani campaign really personifies what's possible. It's both about the immigrant community, and actually when he announced me, I spoke about my immigrant heritage. It's his message, so of affordability, but also hope, and representing all the communities in New York City, the communities that have felt left out. It speaks to, I think we would both agree, it speaks to the Lebanese community, it speaks to the Arab community, it speaks to the Muslim community, but it also speaks to all New Yorkers. Because and we saw that, right? We saw an outpouring of support for the mayor-elect now, for Zohran Mamdani. We saw a level of support that was unprecedented, and an excitement, and people who never felt they were part of the system and now part of that system. That is a message we want, and it wasn't a message that stopped on election day. So the other thing I would tell them is we need to keep this going. We need continued support. We need support for that imperative, that affordability agenda. We need support so that Albany understands we need that support, and Washington understands that this is something the community of New York needs to succeed and prosper. So we want their continuing involvement, and he is certainly a role model for Lebanese and Arab and much broader to continue to be active in our politics, and to the extent I can participate in that and encourage that, we want to. Because it's not a natural thing there are members of our community who are involved, but it's not always a natural thing.
It's not as obvious.
But I have a feeling in our backgrounds that in my family, and there was always a discussion of politics and what was happening in Lebanon and the Middle East. And we also, I still have family in Lebanon. We sort of had a direct tie because my family had a long history with the American University of Beirut.
That's my alma mater.
It's your alma mater, and we had a strong tie with students coming at that time where I grew up in Syracuse, New York, of students coming. And they were all over, it's Lebanon. They were all over the political spectrum. From
different sects.
Oh my gosh! But even when they were from the same religion, they could be diametrically opposed. And of course, you would fight over the politics. And fortunately, you would have a lovely meal, which you do love our food.
It just arrived also.
And that added to but we have cultural identity that hopefully holds us together.
You mentioned something that I think is very unique for Zohran's campaign, where a lot of times when politicians get to the position they were running for, the movement that kind of got them there is forgotten. And during this transition period, it's been clear that has been different. Can you explain to us what is the transition period exactly? Because in most places, it doesn't usually take a few weeks or a few months for administrations to shift, and how people can help during this transition.
So the transition goes from the election day in November to January 1st. So January 1st, we take office. It is an enormous undertaking. It's a vibrant, huge city. It's the center of so many things in the United States, and it has so much responsibility. Everybody talks about 300,000 employees. If we add things that people don't talk about, like health and hospitals, the biggest public health system in the country, it's the biggest public hospital system in the country. When you add that and our housing, you get up to about 370,000 employees that we have to give direction to and make sure that the day-to-day operations of the city are occurring and the policy agenda is occurring. But while we're also doing that, we need that same excitement, that same energy. And you're seeing the mayor-elect, you're seeing Zohran Mamdani out there all the time. You're even seeing me out there doing press stuff, which is not something I would normally do. So because the message is so important and we need community support to accomplish that message. So we want people to stay involved. We've received 50,000 resumes that we have to go through and make sure.
All of them.
Thank you so much.
Some
Tabbouleh, necessary, and hummus. We were perfect.
The staples.
Yes.
Sahten.
So do you, and who cooks in your household? Or
My mom, I'm lucky enough that my mom is here, so I love her cooking, but I dabble a bit, especially in kibbeh, because that's what my town is like really known for. So I made sure before leaving Lebanon that I made my great aunt teach me our like recipes.
Excellent.
I can actually kibbeh ras, the one that's famous in Zgarta. That's
in Zelta,
like
it's the large kibbeh.
So I actually learned that.
Oh my God!
This is
so you have to make that for them.
I would love to. It would be an honor.
So I make tabbouleh every week.
Tabbouleh is great.
I have to make it. I have to make it every week.
If you
and the bread is beautiful.
the fresh bread.
So I interrupted us with the food.
I think it's so much nicer to have it, and it'll remind you of when you used to go to Lebanon and have these conversations. You mentioned the hundreds of thousands of employees here. Someone with your experience, both in Albany and City Hall in New York City, what's something you'd like people to know about the New York City budget that they might not know about, like how it works?
So the for me, and I've obviously spent a lot of years doing budgets, and I can talk about the technicalities of the budget. And the current administration put out a new financial plan yesterday, and it's $118 billion. So it's like an enormous undertaking. But what it really is, it's about we're gonna be responsible, right? But it's also, the budget is the document that says, here are the priorities of the city of New York. Here are the priorities of the mayor. And when we start in January 1st, we have 1 month to put out our budget. In between, there'll be a state budget, and we hope to partner with the governor and the governor's team to do some of these major affordability issues to get them going. So the budget really it's a measure of what we stand for. It's the priorities we want. It says these are the principles we stand for. It is the policy document of this administration. So we're going to take what came through that campaign. We're going to take what the voters supported and what they still see as necessary for the success of this city and that affordability agenda, and you're going to see it reflected in the budget.
Right? It's
Got it.
Flowers too.
Got it.
And the kibbeh.
All right. So I think we have to dig in.
You should, yes, please. Please, صحتين.
Thank you so much. And you have to start with tabbouleh, right?
Oh, of course. A bit, some refreshing tabbouleh.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to let you hand me a bra. Just give me. Thank you.
I like when they're nice and warm and fresh.
Oh, it's beautiful. Or you have to have some bra.
Yeah, please feel free. So we talked about the budget. What's a priority you think can happen quick where regular working class New Yorkers can feel the impact of that's going on?
So we have to, it's a very ambitious agenda, and everywhere you go, someone is going to tell you it can't be done.
Yeah.
That it's not realistic, that Albany won't do the corridor, they won't raise taxes, Washington will do something to us, there'll be a Medicaid crisis, something will happen. That can't be the understanding. The understanding is that he ran on an agenda that said you're going to see change and you're going to see it immediately and you're going to see it in that budget. And yes, some things will take time to implement, but the commitment has to be big. And to the question of is it possible, I keep saying this to everyone. I can't name the number of times I've been told or other people have been told that's not possible.
Not reasonable, yeah.
and then 3 months later it happened. I was honored to be part of the de Blasio administration, and in that first year, one of the things everybody wants, right, is universal pre-K for 4-year-olds. And at the time, I'll never forget, the department said, you can't, this takes 5 years, right? There's no way to do it sooner. The governor at the time, Andrew Cuomo, can't do it. But it's not happening. No one's going to do this. Don't do it.
Debate, yeah.
Don't do it. Okay, it was 3 months later. It's in the state budget. The state's funding it. And we enacted it in 2 graders. If government can do things, progressives, Democrats, socialists, that agenda can be done. And the agenda that Zohran Mamdani outlined is doable, and we have to make that happen. And I don't perceive the same roadblocks everybody else. I don't believe it. We have to there's always a way to make these things happen, and we'll balance the budget. It'll be fiscally responsible. Yes, there'll be new revenues. Yeah. And putting those things together, it's then our job to both negotiate that and implement that. And that has to be the mission. These jobs are a privilege, right? I'm honored to be in this administration. I'm really honored that I developed a relationship with him.
I was going to ask you about that.
I developed a relationship with him in late winter. And so the primary was still going down. Everybody still thought he wasn't going to win. And we just had conversations about government and what you do in the different offices. And he is so incredibly thoughtful on these questions and probing and looking to understand, okay, doesn't know everything. What doesn't he know, and how do we help effectuate policy? And I was both inspired by his campaign before, and then meeting him and realizing the commitment he felt that didn't waver from. It was hard not to say, I will help you in any way I can. So whether that's inside or out, and then we kept meeting and we kept talking about policy. So it's a privilege to be part of this. And there are people walking by us out there who have struggled every single day. And he has put forward an agenda to address huge part of the problem they confront and make their life easier and make it so they can stay in this city and not leave the scene. But this city is affordable for them, that agenda of hope is what's our obligation to do, and it's our privilege to do. So,
Stepping back into this role, does it feel familiar or does it feel different this time at Zohran?
well, it's a great question. It is different. Every period of time and challenge are different, and it's good. The way I view it is I need to take that experience both in New York City and in Albany, where I worked for years.
Zach.
Take that experience and use that, but it's not the motto, right? It's a body of knowledge, but it's not the same. This is a different mayor for a different time with different challenges and different opportunities. So it's a good foundation, but no, it's going to be a different administration.
So you bring the institutional experience
Sure.
to that, but with a movement-driven and ambitious mayor on board.
Yes.
We didn't talk a lot about what the first deputy mayor actually does. So I keep stopping you from having some tabbouleh. So after that question,
No, that's
can you
fine.
edit it?
No, it's fine. And it's beautiful to look at too. So, and you're allowing me to sip coffee, and that's maybe the most important.
Sahtin, anything you want.
So, as we develop this transition, we need to structure a government that works for the mayor elect, right? So what does that look like? And that's what's my role. What's his chief of staff? El Discard Church, we announced with me. It was part of that brilliant campaign. It was great we were announced together. Working with this incredible team that came through that election and now expanding it for the transition, we're going to figure out, okay, how to effectuate the change he wants and also keep things, I mean, there are day-to-day things that we have to make sure happen in New York. If there's a snowstorm, that has to happen, right? The roads have to stay clean. The garbage has to be picked up. The day-to-day operational things have to happen. So our job is to figure out, okay, how do we structure the city differently? How do we structure City Hall so it's responding to the day-to-day, it's driving the policy, it's addressing anything that may happen in Washington that affects us? How do we address all those things at the same time so we don't get sidetracked, we stay on our principles, we stay on our policy? So the first deputy mayor role really is to make sure the operations of the government are moving forward. But again, I know I'm gonna be part of conversations, not just about the budget, not just about labor contracts, not just about what agencies and how we decide their reporting, but what's happening in Albany. Right, we had a meeting with the governor. Elle and I were both in that meeting. You would expect that, right? We're part. So we're going to be flexible enough to make sure that daily operational challenges are being met and the policy is being driven. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to have a team with me and we're going to make sure that those daily operations are occurring. So it's not a direct, it's sort of an answer of what a first deputy mayor does. But as we get closer to January 1st, we'll have that more defined, but we're also going to all be involved, all of us, that we agree with what the mayor-elect identified as the issues and the policies, and we're going to ensure it continues. Right? That's a key to this.
That was clear throughout the campaign as well. It's definitely a continuation of that energy. Like a lot of the questions I want to ask you,
I'm preempting
you work them, and people want to hear from you directly. So instead of it being question answer, you gave like your dynamic with Zohran. I want to ask you about that. So you're very clear about that, talking a bit about Governor Hochul as well. So I think it was a pretty full image. The one thing.
Anything you
I wanted to ask you was, the nice thing about new media and podcasts and stuff like that is it doesn't always the questions don't have to be like mainstream media all the time. So imagine if a year from now, a New Yorker is watching this podcast, what is one thing you want them to think, oh, that thing Dean Fuleihan talked about, I saw the difference in that. I can actually feel that it's become better or changed. What would that one thing be?
That we started to address, that you see in a practical way, is a change in affordability. That things have started to change in New York City, and you feel that sense of hope. And you actually, it's a requirement that you feel, right? It's the one thing.
Managing that personal budget, and next year you'll be like, oh, okay, I actually do have a bit more left from my budget.
Or yes, that something that was constraining you and constraining that person, they now have relief.
Like childcare, if you have young kids. Okay.
Correct. Free buses, childcare, rent.
That's the nice thing about it.
I mean, that's why the platform.
It's easily gaugeable.
But while that's what I hope you'll see, I also need to make sure that you say, you know what? You're also running a city. You're meeting the day-to-day operational things of the city of New York. So both those things have to happen. And if there are challenges, and there always are in a government, and everybody talks about Washington and the president, but whatever those challenges are, that we're addressing those too. Because I can't predict exactly what's going to happen at every single thing in the next year, but that we give you the comfort that you have someone running New York City that's addressing those unforeseen challenges, and that we're doing it thoughtfully, but that we're still driving the agenda and we're still managing the city.
There's a lot of naysayers that keep saying Zohran's promises, he's giving promises to working class folks that he can't actually keep. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and it's a time when a lot of family members and loved ones come together, and
Wonderful time.
they maybe don't see eye to eye.
Yes.
So I'm sure a lot of folks watching this, listening to this conversation, will have people on that table that are naysayers when it comes to what Zohran can actually deliver on. What would you tell those folks?
So it's good they're having a wonderful meal for it to calm down the political argument. The agenda, it's not, again, it's an agenda that the people of New York City support. They have shown that in unprecedented numbers.
Resoundingly, for sure.
And it's captured people who were not, and we talked about this earlier, who were not part of that system and now ours. It's about dividing the clear agenda of affordability, and it's a requirement of us to deliver on that. And I would say to them, judge us, of course, but we're going to show you that we can improve the lives of New Yorkers. And what part of that agenda seems inappropriate? Childcare, universal childcare. Helping 3- and 4-year-olds in an early education system so everybody can afford it and not simply the wealthy. That there's equity in taxation while the very wealthiest are getting huge benefits out of Washington. That housing is not a serious crisis of affordability. That free buses and faster, it doesn't help working people in New York. What part of that agenda is wrong? I would, and because it's hard to imagine, what is the argument? The argument keeps coming back. Oh, you can't afford it. You can't do this. Well, we'll show you the kind of. Are the goals wrong? Hard to imagine they would say they are.
That was very useful when we were canvassing throughout the campaign, where a lot of the ideas people think are, very unreasonable. But when you take the time to explain to them the way that it was broken down on the website or Zohran Speaks, a lot of people would get on board. It's just that there was so much misinformation and a knee-jerk reaction where like this is the absolute best, don't even think about having something better. But when you discuss it like point by point with folks, in my experience at least, it almost always works.
Yeah.
And even if they're like not on board or they're not like fully committed, they understand that that idea isn't that crazy. It's just that no one took the time to explain it to them. And I feel that is something really special about Zohran. Like since I met him in 2021, I've like noticed that about him.
Wow,
So
it's amazing.
yeah, Dean Fuleihan, thank you so much.
You know, it was
Such a nice.
It was real
conversation.
pleasure. And you owe me, I think, a kibbe dinner, and maybe I owe you.
Should do. So
you should do.
Should this time.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.